It's been nearly 6 months since Russia invaded Ukraine. Since then, thousands have been killed and millions have been forced to flee their homes.
But you may wonder, how did we get here? The Washington Post examined the lead up to the war and how it says the U.S. knew Russia would invade Ukraine. According to the article, U.S. intelligence penetrated Russia's political leadership and found President Putin preparing for an all-out war. Washington Post national security reporter Karen DeYoung joins us now to talk about what she and her team was able to find. Karen, great to have you with us. What did the U.S. do once it learned Putin was preparing for war?
Well, thank you. I think that when they sat down in October with the kind of weight of all the intelligence that they had, sat down with President Biden, he instructed them to do two things. One was to tell President Putin directly that they knew what he was up to and outline what the consequences would be. And the other was to try to convince the U.S. allies, primarily NATO, that this invasion was coming and to get on board with the various things that they would have to do to prepare for it.
And so, Karen, according to your article, Ukrainian officials have complained that U.S. intelligence did not provide enough specifics on what they knew of a potential invasion. Do you think that that is fair? Do you think the U.S. was withholding certain details that did impact the trajectory of the war? Or, did the U.S. not exactly know everything as it was unfolding?
I think they withheld a lot of details, both from Ukraine and from the NATO allies. In terms of Ukraine, you had an intelligence service that even the Ukrainians will say is kind of shot through with Russian moles. And plus, there's this very long tradition in the U.S. intelligence community that they won't reveal anything that has to do with sources or methods. They clearly had human intelligence that was telling them what was going on in the Kremlin and in the Russian military. They had signals intelligence, intercepts that were telling them, and they were very nervous about this stuff leaking. And so they started out saying, look, Ukraine, look, Europeans, we know this, you have to believe this. And of course, this comes in the backdrop of Iraq, the faulty intelligence that preceded the Iraq investigation. It comes on less than stellar intelligence about what was going to happen in Afghanistan when the American troops withdrew. So I think there was a sort of built-in skepticism, certainly on the Ukrainian part. There was not only a sort of skepticism about the intelligence, but there was also, even if they believed it, they said, look, we are not going to panic our population. We are not going to have people take all their money out of the banks and leave the country, because that would leave a shell here that would make it only easier for the Russians to do what they want to do here.
Really insightful details there. We encourage folks to head to your website and read the article, which is up now, which talks about the key takeaways. Karen DeYoung, thank you very much.
Great reporting. Thanks, Karen.